Perfect.
Go ahead, Phil. Thank you so much.
Awesome. Well, hey guys, welcome. This is how to use LinkedIn to launch your career. I'm going to try and just share my screen here so you guys can see our little PowerPoint we have. So I'll just try to share this. Can you guys see?
Perfect.
Yep.
Is it working? Awesome. Well, again, welcome. This is how to use LinkedIn to launch your career. We're going to be talking about best practices with LinkedIn, how to best utilize the platform so that when you guys are applying for internships or jobs, you'll have a nice professional looking LinkedIn and be able to land those jobs and internships. So, and then at the end, if we have time, we'll do a Q&A, some time for you guys to ask questions. Maybe we can demonstrate some searches for you guys with LinkedIn Recruiter, and then maybe some just LinkedIn tips and tricks. But I know we have lots of sophomores and juniors. I'm thinking most of you guys are business majors. Is that correct? Yes. Okay. Well, again, I'll just introduce myself real quick. Go to the next slide here. My name is Philip. I am a Bethel alum. I graduated in 2018. I majored in accounting and HR. So shout out to all you accounting and HR majors. It's good to be back, or virtually back. But I am now a recruiter, a financial recruiter at Baker Tilly Search and Staffing. Our team recruits for finance and accounting professionals for companies here in the Twin Cities. And so what that means is when companies need a new employee within finance and accounting, they come to us with that open position. And then we use LinkedIn and other tools to try and find that talent to fit what the company is looking for.
Awesome. And I am Lauren Sigfred. I graduated from UW-Eau Claire with an accounting degree in 2016, and I have been with the search and staffing team for 4 years now. So really, before we get into everything, just to go over a few housekeeping items. During the presentation, please feel free to use the chat function if you have any questions that come up, or to answer any questions we might prompt you guys with. We'll go over all of those questions at the end of the presentation too. So I guess by kind of showing your virtual hands, how many of you guys have LinkedIn profiles right now? Okay, hopefully we'll be able to share some tips and tricks just to enhance your profiles as well. So moving on to the next slide here too, as Philip mentioned, we'll be talking about how to use LinkedIn to launch your career. And as you'll see on this slide in particular, LinkedIn is a platform used by many on a regular basis. Today, there are over 700 million people on LinkedIn. And to put that into perspective, the entire US population from infant to elderly is a little over 300 million people. So if you don't have a LinkedIn account, we would highly recommend creating one, as it will open many doors for you throughout your career. So why use LinkedIn? Next slide here. LinkedIn can really just be used as an extension of your resume. Many hiring managers or future employers will search LinkedIn to get supplemental information on candidates that they are considering for roles or for internships. So as new grads or even current students, we always encourage your resume to be about 1 page in length. So LinkedIn profiles can really add so much more detail to really add to who you are as a professional and give employers a little bit more of an insight into who you are.
Perfect. Now, before we go to the next slide, what do you guys think? I guess this is a question, so use the chat. What do you guys think recruiters or potential hiring managers see first when they're going to your LinkedIn profiles? I'm not sure if I can see the chat, but Lauren, can you see the chat?
I should be able to, yep.
We're getting any answers?
No, not right now, but.
Okay, well, if
your
you
picture,
guess,
somebody said.
Oops, say that again.
I said someone said your picture is the first thing that someone
That's a good one. So here in this slide here, you can see the red areas are kind of like where your eyes just go directly to. So your picture, your name and title are definitely the first things that people see when they come to your profile. And so it's very, very important that you have a nice professional photo, clear name, clear title, just with no spelling errors, because that's where people's eyes go. And so if something is off there, they're going to notice. And so if we go to the next slide here, it's really important that you guys get a professional photo, as we just talked about, because it's one of the first things people see when they go to your profile. And when I say professional photo, I don't necessarily mean, taken by a professional photographer, but more so just a photo in which you look professional, like the guy on the right here. Clean background, he's in a suit and tie, nice hairstyle, just clean professional photo. as you can see in the left picture, it was taken by a professional, but not necessarily, LinkedIn professional. So it's good to have a nice clean picture. And some people on LinkedIn don't even have a picture, and it's not having a photo on LinkedIn is kind of like going up to introduce yourself to someone with a brown paper bag over your head. It's just not a great first impression. So if you haven't, I recommend going to take a picture, plain background, professional attire, smiling face. This is someone's first impression of you, so make it a good one. And we want to avoid other people in your picture, vacation photos, pets in your photo, wedding photos. I mean, sometimes I go back and forth with wedding photos.
Paul,
If you're wearing your professional suit or maybe your gown and it's just you with a nice background, it can be fine. But when you have when you're in the lineup with the groomsmen and there's people in the picture, I mean, we just kind of want to avoid that. So when I was a student, I think I just had my roommate take a picture of me with a suit and tie in the BC or something. Bethel's full of bricks, so it shouldn't be a problem to find a nice, consistent background. And like I said, it doesn't need to be professionally shot. iPhone and Androids take great pictures. So move on here.
yeah.
Great. So to go into professional headline, as Philip showed you on kind of that heat map, photo and then your headline are going to be where your eyes are drawn to first. So really to include a lot of detail into these two areas. So as a student, it's really a good place to show what you are studying, but then also what you are searching for, whether that be an internship or a full-time job. I attended a LinkedIn training a few months ago and learned something really neat. The words in your titles and headline carry more search weight than anything else on your profile. And we'll go into that a little more of what that means into the next slide. So as a recruiter, let's see if we can just get the next slide. Perfect. This is what Philip and I see when I'm trying to search for an intern or search for an entry-level candidate. This is kind of the tool I use. So you'll see on the bottom corner where it says keywords, I typed in tax and audit. So it's now going to populate a search of people who match that criteria. And you see Kimberly is the first that comes up. And the reason she's coming up first is because she uses those two keywords, tax and audit, in both her headline and in her title. So really making sure to utilize that space with those keywords and kind of buzzwords, if you will, as well. As a student, I understand you guys might not have as much professional experience yet. So the next slide shows some ideas that you can use as your headline. Like for instance, the first one being accounting student looking to help firms to be more productive with a 3.4 GPA and an active member of an accounting club. That is awesome. You've used keywords twice within your headline and then show me a little more detail about who you are. So really, load up on your headline with keywords and buzzwords that focus on who you are and again, what you are looking for. So.
Yeah, I think when I was a student, I'm pretty sure my title was simply like accounting student or accounting in HR. And really that's just not enough. I mean, your peers and students from other schools are going to have better headlines with more buzzwords that are clearer and just have that strong title. And they're going to come up first in a search. So it's really important to try and use those keywords as often as you can, however, without it sounding, like a broken record. And so like Lauren mentioned in that first one, accounting student looking to be more productive, active member of accounting club. I know BBA is a big group at Bethel. And so if you're involved in that, add it. You can say Bethel Business and Economic Association. That's a great way to add it to your title. It's not redundant and it gives you some more words in your title without being redundant. So but we'll move on to profile sections here. So there's a lot of different areas of your profile section. Obviously your name and picture are the first ones, but as you move down, you kind of start to get to your summary, experience, and education. So we'll start with your summary or your about you section. And if we compare this to your resume, on your resume, as a new grad, it really shouldn't be more than a page, but there's no limit to your LinkedIn profile. So it's a great place to showcase who you are, what makes you unique, especially in this about me section. And in your resume, your resume should be written in third person. You wouldn't say, I did this, or it was me who completed, or it was my responsibility. You would simply say like executed tasks, completed this. But your summary about you section is a little bit more personal. So you can say, I completed this, I grew up here, it's my passion for, whatever that might be. But it's just a great chance to give people a taste of your background, who you are, what you're passionate about, what makes you unique. So for instance, if you grew up on a farm, you could say something like, I grew up on a farm. Having done so, I've grown up learning the values of hard work. I think on my profile now, I have something along the lines of, I grew up in a small town, being on a track team in high school in Bethel, and how that has influenced my professional outlook. So share who you are, make yourself, show who, some things about you that, set you apart. So moving forward, then we go to our experience section. As a college student, you might not have very much professional work experience. However, use whatever experience you have, whether it's high school, college job, volunteer experience, sports, extracurriculars, whatever that might be. Relevant experience doesn't always necessarily have to be in the same line of work as your major. So for instance, if you're a marketing major, it's awesome if you have a marketing internship, because that's gonna be most applicable. But if you don't, and you've worked at a restaurant, make sure to include that in your LinkedIn profile. It shows you're able to juggle classes, studying, and work a job, and that you've learned, valuable teamwork, leadership, people skills. So include all those, jobs that you've done in the past, volunteer experiences. Those are great to share, and it makes, shows those other values that you've learned. And now moving on, we'll get to education. And so really utilize your education section too. I think sometimes it kind of gets overlooked. It doesn't just have to be, Bethel University, this major. What groups are you involved in? Why did you choose Bethel? If you have a good GPA, share that GPA. Don't be afraid to share your work either. This is kind of a good section where you can upload media, documents you've read, or articles you've seen, papers, photos, videos, presentations you've done. Whatever you really think makes sense to share, this can be a good area to share that. But now that we've talked about each section, we're just going to quick show you some not awesome examples of what you don't want to look like. So here's a couple just brief summaries. They don't really show exactly what their major is or what they're looking for. There's no picture, no extracurriculars. They have, one person has an intern experience, but really, if you think about, if the hiring manager or recruiter already has your resume, there's really nothing that they wouldn't already know. So don't let this be you, because if a hiring manager or recruiter, goes to visit, they're just going to kind of scroll you by.
Awesome. So now that you have a great LinkedIn profile, or for some ideas to add to your LinkedIn profile, it's time to start building out your network. So warm connections are a great way to start with this. Warm connections mean family, friends, peers, advisors, or even Philip and I. Your peers and people in this Zoom room right now are really great connections to have on LinkedIn, because after you graduate Bethel, the chances of you running into each other in a professional setting are very high. So it's good to connect now and continue that relationship going forward. So once you start adding people and connecting with those people, their connections become your second connections, and you can continue to grow and expand your network from there. You can see who they are connected with, and if you know of any of those people, it's just a great way to keep on expanding. We also always recommend to go on LinkedIn probably a day or two after a networking event or job fair to add the people that you met, but to also add the people that you didn't get an opportunity to talk with or meet with. With those connections too, especially if you're meeting them at a job fair, or if you hadn't met them at a job fair, we always recommend to send a customized message. This should contain a quick statement of who you are and why you want to connect with them. So for instance, you could say, it was great to meet you at the job fair last week. I really enjoyed hearing more about Baker Tilly. Would love to hear from you in regards to said marketing internship, or whatever the case could be. Along with growing your network, besides kind of the warm connections that you have and kind of maybe the obvious ones, an alumni tool is also a great place to start. So you can find through LinkedIn a bunch of people that have graduated from Bethel. You can search to find those professionals in your line of work as well. So let's say you were looking for an internship at Target. Through LinkedIn, you can find someone who was a Bethel alumni that now currently works at Target. then I would recommend connecting with those people and sending them a customized message about how you'd like to learn more about their career and job progression. This is a really easy thing to do because you have kind of a baseline commonality because of Bethel, and then being able to just move forward with that. So moving on to the next slide, we'll talk through finding job opportunities and kind of the different ways you can utilize LinkedIn. A great feature of LinkedIn is the ability to follow companies and really stay up to date on their current events or job openings. So if there are companies in the area that you have, that you know have a great reputation and really would like to work for someday, I would say follow them right away. It's a great way to gather information and research before an interview, or if you know you'll be meeting with them at the job fair, you can do a quick summary of their company page and really seem like you're really up to date on the current happenings at whatever company. LinkedIn also gives you groups to follow. So let's say you're an accounting or marketing major, there will be specific groups that you can join to stay up to date on market trends or just to network with others within your said industry or your said major as well. Then also, as mentioned before, LinkedIn is obviously a very easy tool to help find internships or full-time jobs. It gives you the opportunity as well to save searches. So you're notified when a new job is posted that fits your criteria, like an accounting internship or so on and so forth. LinkedIn will also recommend jobs or internships that they think you would like to apply to based off of your previous search history. So if you're looking for a job or an internship, we highly recommend using some of these features that LinkedIn has here.
Awesome. So moving on, we just want to briefly showcase how you can turn on open to new opportunities on your profile. So this is a picture of Lauren's LinkedIn. You can see on the bottom there, it says show recruiters you're open to new to work, and it says get started. So if you click on that, it'll kind of bring up a new tab there where you can click on, what you're interested in looking for, what internship you're wanting to do, or maybe it's a full-time job, where it's located. Maybe you're looking for something back home, wherever you're from, or maybe it's here in the Twin Cities, and then kind of like the timeline. So it's a great opportunity just to show, it shows recruiters that you're open. It won't show like your peers or people with normal LinkedIn. You have to have LinkedIn Recruiter, but it kind of gives us, it sets you apart. So yeah, it's just a great way to kind of let potential hiring managers know you're open and actively looking. So we'll kind of showcase here why. So if I was going, like, for example, if I was on LinkedIn Recruiter and I wanted to do a search for, let's say, an economics graduate, here's a recruiter's view of what that might look like. And so you can see there's multiple different categories. So if you fall into the main category, the total candidates category, the best profiles with most buzzwords, like as we talked about before, are going to come up first. And there's no way they're going to go through all 1 million people. But if you have open to new opportunities selected, as you can see in that next tab, there's a lot less candidates. And so you've just, increased your chances of being found by a recruiter or a hiring manager. It's just a great way to set yourself apart if you are indeed actually looking, though. So make sure if you do land that internship or you do get that job, make sure to turn that off, because otherwise you might be getting a lot of phone calls or emails or spam messages from people who think that you're looking for a job, but you might not be.
All right, so lastly, you want to make sure after all of this work you put into making a great LinkedIn profile that you maintain it. Similar to what Philip just said, this means keeping your page up to date, checking your inbox, responding to messages, and following up with individuals that you might not have heard back from. Staying active on LinkedIn is so important. Checking out your news feed, responding to people's posts. We also really encourage you to be an active member on LinkedIn, which means, posting your own updates of, your professional accomplishments or student accomplishments. The only thing is, this obviously isn't Facebook or Instagram, so the things you post on LinkedIn should be about schoolwork or your career or professional accomplishments. Keeping it professional and staying active is definitely key here. So that's really everything that we have for you today. We really want to open this up to have an open discussion. We can answer any type of questions that you might have on how to revamp your own LinkedIn profile or make it a little bit better. So we can open it up to any questions if you want to fill the chat box. I did see that we had one. And it says, does being a LinkedIn paid version pro impact your search results? So I don't believe it does. So if you were to subscribe to a better version of LinkedIn, it probably gives you more capabilities in regard to searching for things, but not necessarily change how you come up in our searches. So
Right.
there might be some advantages to it, but I won't find you faster just because you've upgraded.
Right. Here. Also, I thought it might be cool to share here. I'm gonna, oops, did I just stop sharing?
Yep,
Here.
that's okay.
I wanted to just quickly show them like that setting for privacy, or you know, like when you go to someone else's profile. Here,
Yeah.
I'll bring up LinkedIn here quick.
As you do that, I'll answer the next question that came up
Okay.
too. It said, does following specific companies on LinkedIn have any significance to helping find jobs or internships? So if you want to find a job at Target, following the company doesn't put you more on their radar, I guess, but it allows you the opportunity to stay up to date on what they are doing. So if you follow Target, you probably will see Target's post on your newsfeed. So if they said, oh, we're trying to hire a huge class of interns, you'll see that, you know, quicker than maybe your peers would, since you are following the company.
Right. There's another one. What are some of the differences between applying to an internship on Handshake versus LinkedIn? Oh, interesting. Is Handshake another?
I have never heard of Handshake.
I've never heard of
yeah.
Handshake. Yeah. Does anyone know? What is that?
If anyone knows what Handshake is, we'd
Yeah,
love that.
someone enlighten us.
I will say though, if we haven't heard of Handshake, that might mean something. So I'd say
Yeah,
apply to
that's true.
LinkedIn.
That's true too.
What we always recommend too. So if you see a LinkedIn posting for an internship, definitely apply. You go through LinkedIn, but also don't be afraid to go to the company page and look through their careers page and apply directly through their database. So if I see Baker Tilly post something on LinkedIn, I'm going to go to Baker Tilly career page and then apply to that internship directly.
Right. I don't know. I think for both Laura and I, we've heard many times people applying on LinkedIn, and then unfortunately, the company never actually gets it. You kind of get put into a pile, and so sometimes it's really easy to get lost in the shuffle of things. So if you apply on LinkedIn and the company's website, much better chances of getting recognized for that.
Yeah. Next question. I have job experience that has nothing to do with my major. Example, food service security. Should I indicate that on my profile? Yeah, yes. Definitely. As Philip had mentioned, I would talk about that experience on your LinkedIn profile, kind of high level. Talk about the lessons you learned that could be applicable to your major as well. So if you learned, you know, through food service, customer service skills, I would put that on your profile and start talking through that.
And then what should your industry be? Should it be the industry you're pursuing or the one you are currently in? For example, my current industry is primary, secondary childcare, but I am going into business. Yeah, so if you are, so are you a business major or yeah? Okay, so I would just probably say then like on your headline, you know, kind of those examples we had shown previously where it was kind of like accounting major, finance major, looking for, you know, accounting or finance internship. And then in your, you know, experience section, you can kind of share those experiences of primary, secondary childcare, and maybe how that's impacted you, or maybe your about section, even why it's important to you, how it's impacted you, and how you will use that in your professional career.
Definitely. But if you're searching for business type related, you know, job opportunities or internships, we definitely recommend, like Philip said, put that first, since that's what you're looking to do, not necessarily what you've done in your past.
Right. Here, I'll quick show you. I wanted to quick show you guys just a quick. Maybe you guys already know this, but here's just like regular LinkedIn. I wanted to quick show you guys like a privacy in your settings. So when you go to someone else's profile, I'm not sure if you guys know this, but it notifies that person that you went to their profile. So if I go to Lauren's like profile, it'll notify her and say, "Hey, Philip actually went to your profile." And so if you don't like that, you can turn that off. You go to settings here, and then you go to visibility, and then profile viewing options. So right now mine's on myself. So when I go to someone else's profile, it'll show them that I went there. Otherwise, you can make it some characteristics of that being private. So it'll say like someone from Baker Tilly, or for you guys, someone from Bethel looked at your profile, but it won't show your picture. Or you can just make it completely anonymous. You can also just completely turn off visibility itself. So you don't want to see other people and you don't want other people knowing that you visited theirs. You can just completely turn off that function. So there's a lot of different ways in settings that you can kind of mess with or tinker with privacy, however you kind of feel most comfortable. So definitely recommend doing that as well.
Should you add links to your other social media accounts is the next question. I'm going to go with no on that one.
Yeah.
So if you're trying
So
to add a
true.
link to your Instagram account and it's a very personal Instagram account, I would say no. Let's say you are, this is the only example I can think of, it's not really into the business setting, but let's say you're a professional photographer, then
Yeah.
yes, share your professional Instagram that
Right.
highlights your professional photography skills. Or if you're a marketing major and you had a really cool internship that you are able to display a lot of the projects you worked on, again, make it a separate Instagram account and then share that link.
Right.
But otherwise, I wouldn't share links to your personal accounts. You just don't know what's buried deep into those pictures of Facebook and Instagram. It's probably just not worth the risk on that one.
Yeah. Same if you're a graphic design or something like that. Those majors where you're showcasing your talent, not just showcasing another social media account. So wait, what was the other? Do endorsement skills, are they valuable? Should you ask for these from your network? That's a good question. I think Lauren and I actually talked about this before. We're gonna talk about it. So what we decided was, I mean, they're not a bad thing. If you have a lot of people saying that you are actually great at Excel, that's awesome, but it's really not a huge thing. It's not like I'm comparing and contrasting between two different profiles, like which one has more endorsements. But it is a good thing if you have friends who, if it's actually a true value that you have in that skill. But otherwise, it's not too big of a deal.
Well, I'll go ahead and jump in here. I've been firing you guys off some questions. So everyone else who's listening here, I would love to hear some of your other questions that you might have. These are the pros, these are the experts here who spend their time sort of filtering through this. So let's dive into anything else that you might want to ask them. If you want to unmute and ask them directly, you can certainly put it in the chat as well. Anything else that we can sort of help you with as you develop developing your profile, which is really your primary online brand as you finish looking for internships and then finding the job ultimately at graduation.
Otherwise, too, we can always demonstrate like a search within LinkedIn Recruiter or what that looks like, or job searches if you guys want to see what that looks like, and how to best utilize those if you guys think that would be valuable.
Or if you feel daring, we can look at your LinkedIn profile.
Oh yeah, maybe we should just pull up people.
Job searches would be helpful. Says someone in the chat box, so we can go through that.
You could do an audit of mine, a live. I'm willing to give you my link. Do a live audit and tell me what you think is good and bad, if you want.
We'll go through job searches, and if we got time, then we'll take you up on that offer.
I'll take you up on it. Yeah. Here we go. So this is again LinkedIn. So let's say I'm wanting an internship. So I'll go to jobs here, jobs, and then here you can filter your search. And so we always recommend filtering your search. So let's say you're wanting to do finance. Let's do a financial analyst, right? Financial analyst, perfect. And here we go. So again, there's here on this top screen here, I'm not sure if you can see my cursor, but here too, you can further filter your search. And so maybe you're wanting something most recently posted, or posted within the last 24 hours, or posted internships. Maybe it's a specific company that you're looking for. Maybe it says full-time, part-time, remote. Maybe you're looking for in a different location. You can filter this so many different ways. And so really whatever you're looking for, you can probably find it. But really just a great way to, you can get really specific in your searches too. So But if we're doing financial analyst, you know, you can do salary even. Let's say you're Eden Prairie, Minneapolis. Let's apply that. And then perfect. Here we go. And you can apply right on there. But like we said, when it comes to applying on LinkedIn, always apply on LinkedIn, but also go to the company's actual page. So you actually are in their system.
Yeah. And the other thing is you'll see, Philip, if you want to move your cursor, it says job alert off.
Oh yeah, where is that?
It's right below where you are. It's like, woo. It's the
Oh, there
little
it is.
button.
Yeah,
you
yeah,
go.
right.
And
There you
so if you click that on, Philip, not to save a search, you'll see you will receive a daily or weekly alert to either your email or your notifications on LinkedIn. This is basically going to say, hey, Philip, we have a brand new financial analyst search that got uploaded on LinkedIn. Would you be interested in this? It's an awesome way to stay up to date if you're actively looking for an internship, because then you'll get notified as soon as the new job is posted, so you can apply to it right away.
Right. So LinkedIn is basically doing the work for you. You do it one time, filter your search, and then if you just turn that on, you don't have to do it anymore. It will just tell you automatically when the second it gets posted.
Any other questions on job searching or anything regarding this?
I had a question. I heard someone say you should include your LinkedIn profile in all of your emails. Should you put that in your email signature? Is that something that you should try to push out there? Or is that only something you want to send is that a responsive thing versus sort of being proactive in your email signatures?
I like that idea.
Yeah.
Philip, I don't know if you see, I don't see that a lot, to be honest, but I like that idea because as
Yeah.
a recruiter, I don't have to go back to LinkedIn, type in your name. Like, it's just very convenient. So I would definitely
Yeah.
throw that in your signature.
Yeah, I don't think it's a bad thing. I think it just, again, showcases that addition to your resume like that. So I think it's a great idea. I know some people on LinkedIn even share their resumes just right on there. I think that can be a great idea too, just to easy access, like, hey, look at me, I have my resume, it's right here. Just make sure that your resume is up to date and broadcast or showing your most up-to-date work.
Well, any other quick tips for us? I think we're right at the end. We started a little late, but I think we want to let students get back. We have some other scheduled things for this morning. So any other last minute tips from you guys, or we can?
Yeah, I think we have one more question that I can quickly answer too. It says, should you include all past work experience on your profile or filter by the most recent or applicable? It just depends on the quantity. You know, if you had 6 different jobs throughout college and high school, pick the ones that make the most sense and are most applicable. Because you don't want it to be, you know, bogged down and look like kind of like a job hopper. You want to show stability in your work environment too. So
yeah, and choose the ones that you're most passionate about too, the ones you can talk about the most and just, you know, really get excited about. No one wants to hear like, oh yeah, I worked at a restaurant and I hated it. I mean, choose the ones that I mean, that might be the case, but choose the ones where you had meaningful experiences.
Yes, that is a great point.
Thank you guys so much for sharing all your insight. If students are interested in getting a hold of you, what's the best way for them to do that? Should I send them your LinkedIn profile?
Yeah, that would be great.
Or we can share our email addresses too. Yeah, that'd be great. LinkedIn and email. Should we just share that? Should I just send you? Oh, yes, you already have our email, so.
I do. Yep, I can go ahead and send that out as well.
Perfect.
Hey, thank you so much for your time. We really appreciate it. This has been really valuable for us.
Great, thank you. We love it. So.
Okay, so for the students on here, this is going to